What do you do to actually build things that are important and last? And create a pathway to the future that we agree we want. The future is not today. We want to eliminate the kind of gaps that we have, the kind of budgetary restrictions. We want to plan smart, and we want to take the dollars, the precious dollars, and I have to tell you, we're going to talk a minute about some dollars that have been infused into our budget this year. I want to tell you that every penny of those dollars is precious to us. It is a sacred trust because it's your money. It's our money. And we must guard it and invest it wisely so that it grows and is not lost. There's only one way to do that, and that is together. You mentioned that it's a big job. There's really no way to describe how big it is. Because in my view, it's as big as the 11 plus million people in the state of Ohio. It's as big as solving the problems that we read about daily. And it's as big because we can do it. Because together we can make this happen. And you can decide to be part of the answer. You can decide that we can create a solution. But if you all don't decide, it's going to be much harder. I always ask people in any audience, what does change mean to you? Because you see, I don't think we can really change unless we look in the mirror individually and say, where am I on this thing? Do I feel more comfortable doing what I've always done? Or am I ready to grow? Am I ready to evolve? Am I ready to take the risk of leadership, which is necessary if we're going to create a new world order for our state? All of you are important, all the organizations, the entire team. But I have to take one moment to acknowledge the ODOT team. I could ask you, each of you, and I always threaten to do this, I haven't actually done it yet, to have everybody get a little piece of paper when they come in and write down, you know, what is the very first thing you think of when you think of ODOT? Friendliness, welcoming, partnership. Maybe not? We have 5,641 employees right now. And you should know that that is a 30-year low for personnel. 30-year low. Put that on your paper next to the fact that we have a historic level of construction this year and next, with both regular formula funds and the infusion of the stimulus dollars. So our people are given at the office. Our people have to be committed to make this juxtaposition of cost savings and production at a quality level work. And nobody makes that happen more than our leadership in the districts. And we have John Hart and Bonnie from District 3 and District 12. They're the face of ODOT in the districts, and their teams, some of them are here. Paul Staley right here is from the central office. And I have to tell you, it is truly a privilege to be allowed to be on their team because they are big time committed to the proposition that transportation can recreate our state. Let's just look at a couple of slides. We've said it, you know, it's historic time in history, and ironically, it's going to be a historic time in transportation. It's sort of like the tale of two cities. The best of times and the worst of times at the same time. We can only make it work in terms of historic achievement in transportation if we do it together and if we do it smart. let's see. Remember what we have. Ohio is the center of the country, of the history of our country, of transportation. I like to call it the juxtaposition of opportunity and experience. We have an asset called our transportation system that uniquely positions us to attract business, industry, and if we do our passenger side right, to attract the young people, the young professionals, all of these fabulous, smart people who are being educated in our extraordinary institutions of learning. Okay? Our priority is to redefine ourselves by today's standards. And that's what I'm asking you, Howard, to try and lead this summit to do, is to truly articulate what are our new criteria for success. We've begun to do that at the department because the Priorities Task Force said, ODOT, state, locals, when you take your precious dollars and invest them, they need to create economic opportunity. That should be the number one priority. Gone are the days when anyone might think that creating a smooth road for the sake of a smooth road was any measure of success. It is a measure, but it is not a driver. The driver is, how do the investments that we create move people, move goods, attract business, attract and keep our population? Al Ratner, who is probably one of our favorite members because he's never quiet, never goes quietly, always has some remarkable wisdom said in a way that really gets you. And he sees the future, and he helped us see it. Economic development, keeping people, attracting people, keeping companies, attracting companies, raising the level of economic prosperity. That's what we are all about. It's a different focus than the past. What you and all of us can understand is that we can make this shift. And it's really not like turning the Titanic. If we decide, we can make that decision in a moment. But we all have to go out and be advocates to each other and to those around us to say, we've got to have the courage. We've got to have the courage to understand that what helps one helps the other. Because we, have 5,000 governmental units in the state of Ohio. And home rule is a very big thing in the state of Ohio. But the fact is, what will we have to rule at home if we don't decide to do this together? Okay. These are a couple of the outcomes of the 21st Century Task Force. You say multimodal and everybody says, oh, sure. But just start listening. Start listening to the language. Start listening to what people talk about. It's hard for people to make multimodal the watchword of transportation in their mind, because for 40 or 50 years, it hasn't been that way. And yes, the Department of Transportation, 83% of what we invest today, roads and bridges. But the remainder is critical.